How would you describe, they say they're looking for their identity. How would you describe the personality of the 49ers right now?
Okay. What they have done so far this season, they have created a personality. Unfortunately, the personality is a team that holds a lead into late in the game and loses.
Mhm.
They're a team that, boy, that you can use lots of very hard verbs. It's a team that folds. It's a team that gives it up. It's a team that can't hold on. It's a team that gets outplayed. It's a team where the other coach has a better plan. It's a team where the other team, and I'm talking inferior teams, Rams, Cardinals, inferior teams, play harder at the end. So they now clearly they don't want that to be their personality, and they want to evolve into a contender personality that dominates on offense and can really stop the run on defense and is brilliantly coached. And they may evolve into that. But right now, Iggy, they're a 2-3 loser, and they're a loser who gives it up. For me in sports or in life, the metaphors always come from boxing. And, I've seen thousands of boxing matches, thousands. And very often there's a slick boxer who's quick, jabs, moves, and scores points in the early rounds of 10-round fight, 12-round fight. But the other guy is dogged. He keeps coming and he keeps hitting in the body. Eventually, the slick guy, he's had taken body shots, slows down, and his hands come down. Knockout in the 9th round, 10th round. And that's what's happening to the Niners. They're fast, they're slick at the beginning generally, against crummy teams. They look what happened with Arizona. They kept running. And at the end, the Niners dropped their guard and they got knocked out.
It's funny you went boxing there. I was going to go boxing metaphor as well. And I was going to mention a specific boxer. To me, the Niners sort of had the personality of a specific famous boxer. The last few years, they were very intimidating. They would knock teams out in the first round. Quick knockouts, like young Tyson. And now they seem kind of more like old Tyson or post Buster Douglas Tyson, because it seems like it's clear, as long as you just make Tyson work, make the Niners work, take the fight deep into the 10th round, 11th round, he'll fold. They'll fold.
He did. He continually folded. He was a bully, and he wasn't really that tough. And tougher was Holyfield.
Mm-hmm.
Holyfield, I'll take what you have to give me. I'm theoretically, a cruiserweight. I'm not even theoretically, but I'll beat you. And he was stronger-willed. He took whatever Tyson had to give him, and he knocked him out. And in the second fight, Tyson couldn't even face him, so he bit his ear twice to get disqualified. It was not brave. I'm not saying that the Niners bite ears.
We're not calling them ear biters.
We're not calling them ear biters, but their personality right now is they could beat the crummiest teams in the league. And one of them today just got the coach fired. So that's how bad the Jets are. And against really, really marginal, crummy teams, they don't have the stuff to stick it out for 60 minutes, and they give it up. Their personality is to give it up.
And to me, a big reason that they give it up is because while they're a tremendous collection of talent, the 2024 version of this team isn't really a cohesive team yet. And I don't know that they ever will be. I mean, think about this offseason. How many important people just weren't there this offseason and showed up?
Iggy, first of all, I do agree with you. They're not a team. They're a collection of guys. Mm-hmm. They're not a team, and that includes the coach. He's not dialed in, and the team isn't dialed in. And you're right. The one guy was a holdout. The other guy was a hold-in. The other guy, they paid him a lot of money, and he can't walk because he's got these. Well, he can walk, but he can't run because he's got this tendonitis. How are people feeling? Like, I'm in training camp, I'm in OTAs, and these other guys don't show up, and they get rewarded for it. Mm-hmm. They get rewarded, and mm-hmm. There must be. I mean, these people aren't idiots. These young men are quite intelligent. They can learn a playbook. They must know what's going on with the team.
Yeah, there seems like it's not one team right now. For example, you had two players, similar players, future, maybe not future Hall of Famers, but guys who were clearly irreplaceable. Christian McCaffrey, Trent Williams. both guys wanted guaranteed money, new contracts. Christian McCaffrey got it immediately, quietly, no struggle. Trent Williams had to wait until like the day before the season started. What's the difference? Why? Because Trent's older? Yeah, but Christian was hurt. So I think maybe there's a lot of business considerations on the team right now. And I think maybe some players are looking around like, well, what's the logic here? Like, he got paid, but he had to sweat it. He didn't have to sweat it. He's not getting paid. Who's in? Who's out? Am I in?
That's right. And if this is what's going on, and it's a reasonable hypothesis, it's not only the coach and the general manager who are implicated, it's ownership.
Right.
How do you run a team? How do you keep it cohesive? This goes to the very top.
If you're a player and you don't know, or you're thinking you might not be on the Niners next year, you might have to make some business decisions.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're not invested in you and you know you're going to be on the chopping block the way Eric Armstead was, and this is your last year, maybe, don't get hurt this year, or who knows what the personality is, but it seems like there's a lot of people who are pretty certain they're not coming back next year.
Well, but another way of looking at it is, and again, I haven't been there in like 7 or 8 years. What's it like in the locker room? Are people happy? Are they playing music? Are they talking? Does everybody seem to be an island?
Not a lot of music. Yeah. Everyone seems to be an island. You see Nick Bosa there talking to the media, but you don't see a lot of like fraternizing amongst themselves.
Well, I got to say, I was in the locker room for 5 Super Bowl teams, and there was a lot of interaction. Joe Montana was one of the guys. He didn't put himself like Aaron Rodgers above the team. Joe was one of the guys. He and Ronnie Lott, and he and Jerry were. I once heard Jerry once got a really nice car. I think it might have been a Ferrari. I don't know. And I was interviewing Jerry, and Joe came over and said, "Hey, I'm sorry, but what's the car like? Could you tell me about your car?" And they were giggling and all of that. It was a team. They were in there. I have a feeling that this here is a bunch of independent contractors.
I agree. It feels like they were a team last year, and then all of a sudden, everyone on this team is out for themselves now. What they can get, what they're owed, what they deserve. I mean, Ayuk got his, so why shouldn't I get mine? And once the team is in that mode, I think you're in trouble.
And Iggy, here's the other thing. Ayuk got what he wanted. He got it by acting like a bum. He wasn't a gentleman. Not a bum. Maybe he acted like a teenager, like an adolescent, and he was rewarded for that. And that led to the thing with the shorts. And there were probably grown-ups on the team who were thinking, what?
Here's an interesting parallel. Brandon Ayuk was entering the final year in his contract, and it upset him to be in a lame duck year. So he wanted an extension, and he made a big deal about it, made it public, held in. Diamador Lenoir's in the same situation. He's got 1 year left on his deal. He's a really good player. He didn't hold out. He didn't complain on his social media or on anyone's podcast. He showed up to every day of camp and was like the best player in camp. And now he's having an excellent season. And it looks kind of like the Niners rewarded the wrong guy.
I'm going to ask you a question. Is it fair to say that Diamador Lenoir is as important to the 49ers as Brandon Ayuk?
At least.
You're saying he may be even more important he could possibly be?
Yeah, I mean, Brandon Ayuk had a big game this last week. They lost. It seems like the go-to guy in the Niners offense clearly is Christian McCaffrey, and everyone else is a supporting actor. Diamador Lenoir plays a position. He's good all by himself. He's not a product of scheme or some other player. He's really good.
And he took it to the house.
And he took
the last game. Took it to the house.
So that's the personality of the Niners. They're not one team right now.